Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing the new album from Medicated called Descension. So Medicated, a band a lot of people probably don't know very well. They are an indie band who contacted us asking us to check out their album, and our stipulation for stuff like this is all we want is just some band shirts of your band, and as you can see, that's what we got, so we're going to review this album today. So we've checked out this album a lot throughout the past week, and this actually is their debut album. They've released 3 EPs. They're formed in 2005. They're from Finland, and this is their debut album. We've been checking it out all week for this past week, and for a debut album, I have to say I'm honestly completely floored at how good this album is. And I'm just gonna start with one of my favorite songs, which is actually the first song called Fallen One. This song, I think, is a perfect intro not only to this album, but honestly to this band's sound. You really get everything this band is about in this one song, which kind of makes it perfect as an introduction, because it gives you an idea as to what you're getting into without, like sounding stagnant or anything, right?
Yep.
So, I'm just gonna, right now you're gonna hear one of my favorite parts of this song. So that was the outro to Fallen One, and what I love about that outro is that you hear this riff from the intro. It's a bookend, but then the section that happens right after, which kind of sounds like a Ginger-esque breakdown, is something not done at all throughout the entire song. Yeah. Like, it's a completely different thing. So they kind of tricked you. They made you think, okay, we're gonna do a bookend, and now we're gonna jam out at the end and do something completely different and then end the song. And I thought that was really creative and really interesting.
That is really cool. It kind of throws you off, and the syncopation there is really cool too. And I like what you said about how that first song kind of encapsulates what this band's about. But I want to add to that and say that the band, it gets better after that.
Yeah.
Right? So the first song does encapsulate kind of everything you hear, and you're like, okay, that's what this band does. But then as the songs go on, you start to hear elements that really stand out. Particularly, for me, the vocals. I really love this guy's voice. His range is incredible. He's got a few different types of vocals he does. I'm not the biggest fan of clean vocals, but when it's done right, when it's done in this way, I just love it. And this guy sings very, very well.
Everything about his vocals is just fantastic.
The comparison most people probably make is Devin Townsend. He sounds a lot like Devin Townsend when he does his cleans. Not really as harsh as his harshes sound much different to me. Maybe something more along the lines of like Chimera or something like that. I don't know that singer's name. I can't remember what it is. But that's the vibe I was getting. But the combination of both of them and the way that he plays around with them and the diversity of it is really, really cool. Now I say he sounds like Devin Townsend, and he does. He's got a very similar tone and very similar vibe to his voice, but it's not a copy. It's not a carbon copy. He still has his own uniqueness to it, and that is why I love it, because it sounds like something that I like, but it's not just a rip-off. It has its own flavor to it. And one of my favorite parts on the whole album is this scream he does at the beginning of End of Lifeline. And it's accompanied by something else that I love about this album, and that's the riffing, because you get really, really hard, raunchy, like crunching riffs. And the intro to this song has both of those. I'm gonna play that for you guys right now. So, as you guys can hear, this song just has energy. Like, this is just the kind of metal that I want to play all the time. And this album actually has quite a bit of elements like that, and I was pretty surprised throughout the week that I was having so much fun listening to it, because when a band approaches you and they say, here, review our album, you know, we'll send you some merch, review our album, you kind of get this feeling like, nobody knows who these guys are, we're taking a chance, you know, I don't want to have to say a bunch of bad stuff in the review because I don't like it. And then I listen to it, I'm like, wow, I want to listen to that again. And like, I literally couldn't get enough. Another thing that I want to just touch on before I hand the floor back to TV Fish, because I'm blabbing a little bit, is the lyrics. I'm not a huge lyric fan. I've said that before on this channel. Lyrics don't matter to me that much, but the lyrics were speaking to me on this album. The lyrics are generally about mental instability, hardships, just kind of depression, that whole vibe. And I feel like they're very relatable to people who have gone through things or are going through things that are, you know, depressing them or whatever, right? So you have a song like Chains of Gone, which I rated very lowly in my first impression. We did do a first impressions, by the way. We did
a
video.
Yeah, we did a listening
session. And we took notes and whatever. So that was one of my lower rated songs, and I kicked myself for it, because Chains of Gone is an amazing song. It's the second last song on the album, but in the chorus he says, endless haunting pain leading us astray. And every time I heard that lyric, it resonated with me, because the words endless haunting pain, that to me is a description of how depression feels. And it's just, every time I heard those words coming out, it just resonated with me. And it's one of those things, like they say music is therapeutic. It's therapeutic for me. Music has got me through some really tough times. But hearing lyrics like that tells me and lets me know that other people go through it too. Other people deal with the kind of shit that I've dealt with before. And it's comforting, right? And there's a lot of lyrics on this album that are like that. So I think that lyrically, it might not be the most poetic, it might not be the most intricate, but it definitely hits the mark where it's supposed to hit, and I give it mad props for doing that, because like I said, lyrics isn't normally something that really grabs my attention, but this album did that.
Mm-hmm. And you said that, you know, Fallen One does encapsulate what the album's about, but it does get better, and honestly, it gets better the next track, which is Breakdown, one of the singles from this album. And I remember, before we did a listening session of the album, we checked out the singles, just to, you know, get our feet wet, get a taste of this album. We literally, after that, we finished listening to Breakdown, we were just jaw dropped, just...
Yeah, it's a sick song.
It blew our minds, honestly. It's an incredible song. It has great riffs, it has amazing melodies.
Yeah.
And I won't, you know, the ending is something I can't even tell you. You just have to experience that. I won't even say it. Go listen to the song and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, that song's incredible. Honestly, such a strong single. And the other single is Heaven in Shadows. Now, when we listened to it after Breakdown, it didn't blow our minds as much. And when we listened to it during our listening session, we both generally enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. But the more I listened to it throughout the week, the more I honestly loved it. The riff is sick. I love how high he goes in his vocals, and he goes high very often. Like, you hear just so much range, and it's sick.
Yeah.
And I love how catchy the chorus is, and it's not catchy to a fault, it's catchy to a success, and it sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think Heaven in Shadows would probably be the quote-unquote radio hit of this album, but it, like you just said, it's not to the point where it sounds like a pop song or like they sold out or anything like that. Yeah, it's just a little more on the catchy side.
Yeah, it's more accessible, but it's not like they're trying too hard, you know?
Yeah, but I was the same way. At the first couple listens, that was probably my weakest song, but it grew on me pretty quickly, and I like it. It's a cool song.
Now that scream you know showed earlier at the beginning of End of Lifeline lasts 10 full seconds.
It's a good scream.
Now 10 seconds doesn't seem like very long, but I want you to just, you know, try and just, you know, belt out something for 10 full seconds and have it be strong. Like, it's really impressive to belt out a scream that strong for that long. And the chugging in the riffs of this song are just disgusting, and I love it.
Another cool thing about that song actually is there's actually orchestral elements towards the end. And that's just another thing that this album has, like flavor on top of flavor. It's like a sundae with every topping on it. That's how I feel. Because, you got like violin and piano or something like that just kind of going at the end. just adds character, man, and that's what I like. I like when things are done differently, but it all still sounds like one full package. That's what I'm after when I'm listening to albums.
Yeah, it's pretty unique to that song. You don't hear it that much on the rest of the album to a degree, so
Yeah.
it's not overdone, which is sick. Another song I liked was Next in Line. I really liked the riffing on that song. But another one of my absolute favorites on this album is the last song, My Descent.
Oh yeah.
This song, I think, is the perfect ending song.
Yes.
It is so epic, so extreme, whatever. The melodies are crazy. Everything is crazy in this song. It feels like the ending. It feels like the climax of a giant adventure that is this album, and it fades out just to a jam, and it's just a perfect ending.
I agree, and I feel like this is the kind of song where if you look at the lyrics and you listen to the rest of the album, you almost feel like this should have been kind of a slower, mellower song, like just kind of faded out and just be kind of somber about it. They did the opposite. They went high energy, balls to the walls, and just fucking ride it out with power and ferocity.
Beautiful.
And it's beautiful. And even lyrically on that song, it's kind of, I don't know what the lyrics mean. It's all up to interpretation. But to me, it felt like this whole album, this individual perhaps, was descending into madness, and this was the final straw. These were his final words. There's lyrics in there about this is now my home, my final resting place. See me at my grave.
Yeah, gather my grave.
My grave.
I love that part, by the way, when he says that in the chorus.
So there's a lot going for it, and as a closer, I think it does a perfect job just capping this album off at the end. 12 songs. Finishes it off right there. Very well done.
At first, when we did our listening session, I thought to myself, is the first half going to overshadow the second half? Because the first half is super strong.
Yeah.
But as I listened to it, that is totally not the case. You have End of Lifeline, Next in Line, I Rise, Chains Gone, My Descent. All those songs are just amazing. Like the whole album is just awesome. You know?
There's no weak songs on this album that I can think of. There's definitely some that are stronger than others, like the ones we've been talking about. But all in all, this is a pretty solid effort for a first full-length release.
Debut album. So that being said, Vile, what do you rate this album?
I give Descension a toe tag. I have nothing bad to say about this album. It is excellent. I think fans of several different bands can like this. Fans of Strapping Young Lad, Children of Bodom. If you like Arch Enemy. I could probably name a dozen bands that I was getting slight, tiny influences from this, and I think that's all good stuff. If you can sound like a bunch of other bands but still have your own unique style, you're doing something right. And I think a lot of people would dig this if they checked it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a toe tag for me as well. Yeah, there's not much to say. I have nothing wrong with this album. Honestly, I want to thank you guys, Medicated, for coming to us about this album. Honestly thank you guys for just, bringing this album out. As a debut album, that's so extremely impressive, and I'm just glad that this is an album I've listened to.
I've added several songs to my playlist.
Same. This is just incredible. So I'm really thankful that, this album is in my library on Spotify now, because wow, is it amazing.
Also want to add one more thing, is that while playing this album, Spotify has a tendency to say, hey, listen to some other things too. And it did play some stuff from some of their EPs, which I listened to a few of the songs, and they were really good too. So I'm probably going to go and check out more stuff, and I definitely look forward to any future work these guys do, because this is definitely a solid album.
Oh yeah, for sure. 2 toe tags for Medicated for their album Descension. Amazing, awesome album. Please go check it out. This is their debut album, their first album, and it sounds this good. Anyway, guys, that's all we got for you today. Remember to like the video if you like it. Comment, tell us in the comments below, what do you think of this album? It's pretty new, debut album. Do you guys think it's as amazing as we say? Because it totally is.
Let us know.
Anyway, guys, I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
And we'll see you guys later.